And those that will be watching later, well, it's Ladybug again. It's been a minute, but I'm still alive. Anyways, I just wanted to come here today and add my 2 cents to the recent disaster that happened in the Gambia as well as other issues. It is heartbreaking meeting a torop ndaxte nga doon kilifa jiite say njaboot togg ak ñoom ngay suturaal sa boppa benn bés ñëw rekk you become homeless lekk amoo ko fi nga fanaan amoo ko sa doom yi commencé nekk ci mbedd bi dafa metti te ñun ñëpp am nañ ci responsibility waaye rekk ñi ci ñàkk seen bakken ñu ngi leen di masaw. And for those that are currently going through that hardship, we stand with you. We express our sympathy and our prayers are with you. But dem na ñëw na, we are all responsible. And the bigger responsibility is our government. Because when we talk about the frustration, I don't think that's the only reason why we are having such disasters in the Gambia. But I think it's the lack of preparedness. Parce que yow bu fekkee ne a disaster happened last year, mu am year before last, and you as a government institution, wala a disaster management team or department or unit, whatever you guys call yourself. So disaster ame, I expect na da ngeen def seen assessment and know, okay, well, this happened this year is because of A, B, and C. But what are you guys doing to make sure when it happens again, parce que ken ñaanu ko yàlla, but it does happen. Bu fekkee it happens again, what mechanisms are in place? How prepared are you guys? Because bu fekkee it happened last year, and you know it's gonna happen again, whether this year or next year or another year, I would expect you guys to put at least some kind of maybe a temporary shelter budget for people that are affected, or at least a food store. If things like this happen, your citizens are able to live off something. Parce que dafa metti nag nga doon gor génn ci dëkk bi di ñaan li nga dundale sa njaboot wala di ñaan foo teg sa boppa bi pour fanaan in that small Gambia. And the saddest part is anytime a disaster happen, like this time 10 confirmed dead. Anytime a disaster happen, ñu ñàkk fukki nit. Anytime a disaster happen, ñu ñàkk 5 nit or so. With a population of 2 point something, eventually we are all gonna die. That doesn't tell well about our country. That does not tell well about our future. So in future generation, we're not setting anything for them. And we might today maybe not care today because we live in today. But tomorrow is our responsibility because we have to build it today. But we are not doing that. We are failing big time. It's government's responsibility to make sure that some mechanisms are put in place for such things like this. And we as the people, we are making our government lazy. Lazy in the sense, but things like this happening. I mean, we are humans. We have hearts. And we bleed blood. True, it's humanity first. We start opening GoFundMe, seeking donations, begging here and there and all that. Because that is what we do best, or that is the only option we feel we have control over. But that is actually making our government lazy because they know anytime a disaster happens, the citizens will start raising funds for them to be able to help the affected people. And for them, they will just be sitting there waiting for donors to come and help out. But for how long do we have to depend on donors? For how long? Whenever there is a state budget put out, look at the recent state budget. The budget that is allocated for the State House is actually more than if you combine the Ministry of Interior, you combine the Ministry of Education Their budget is less than the budget of only State House. And what do we have under the State House? Other than defense, everything else is what? So why can't they take a chunk of money, a budget that is allocated on the side for disasters like this? Because it cannot be avoided. It will definitely happen. But no, we are not doing that. All they do is wear suit and tie or skirt and tie and just come sit in the office, acting like ñoom ñoo fi rey gaynde gi te fekk nguur bi sax reyu leen ko. Dafa doy waar, dafa daw yaram. It's not right, because seen citizens in ñu suffer. Whether they are affected directly or indirectly, they are suffering. And it's our fault. But for how long do we have to live like this? We keep hearing politicians are liars. I mean, that is because what they tell you when they are on the campaign trail and when they take office is totally different. But who will you trust? Parce que ñepp seen boppa lañ fa nekka. All of them wearing suit and tie, wala seen haftaan yek seen koppati yi, when they stand there and take that mic. Suma jëlee réew mi ni nga banko taa bu ma defee nii, if I take over. Nada, nothing happens when they take over. We only keep going back to zero. Some of them are genuine, but at the end of the day, they get corrupted by the system. And that system is us. Until we start showing them that our lives matters more than Yensen selfish interest. Why kufa neka rek sa bopa nga tal? It's not right. Ndaxte suñ yaay yeeg suñ baay yeeg suñ doom yeeg suñ jabooti ñooy suffer the consequences ak suñ doom yi ëllëg. Di frustration ñun léegi dangaa gis ku nekk dafa jóg rek nga am benn garab bu rëy sa koñ rek wala sa nga jël rek dog ko without any approval, without any license to do that. Why? Because that's what we're used to. Dañ ko miin ba nga xamante ne léegi foog nañ ne sax aada la cosaan la kenn du la wax dara. It's not right. It's not good for the country. Ndaxte bu garab yi bariwut, if we have tall trees yoo xamante ne can stop the wind or at least minimize the damage, it would be helpful. But we don't have that. All the trees have been cut down. The forest has been burned down to ashes. Like, what future are we putting out there for our kids? Take an example. Today in America, you have a home. You are required to have a home insurance, whether you like it or not. Even an apartment, they ask you to get a home insurance. That is because if disaster happens, they can come help you out. You don't have to be stranded. You don't have to be homeless. You don't have to be hungry. But today, if you want to introduce that in the Gambia for them to have home insurance, guess what happens? It's just like having a car insurance in the Gambia. You have a car insurance, you're paying for it. But guess what? If your car has a breakdown, or it got damage or something happened, they will not even come help you out. It doesn't matter whether you claim it or not, they will not help you out because it's not there. But they will be extracting money from you every month. And guess what the police officers do? The security force, the government, I would say. They stop you on the street driving without insurance, because the first thing they ask you, your insurance. If you don't have it, they start putting fine on you or actually take your car away from you. But are they putting enforcement on those people that you're paying insurance to every month to make sure when your car has a breakdown, they're able to come out and foot that bill and take care of your car? They will not. So where do we stand? So other than that, you look at the other angle. So that alone is an example to show if we have a home insurance, it would not work. It is to the advantage of those that we are paying the money to, but it would not be beneficial to the homeowner because they will not be there to support you or help you when there comes a disaster. And that would actually, if the government is to rethink about this, it would be very beneficial to the government, because if they don't allocate budget for a disaster like that, at least if they put a law where these insurance companies that you're paying your home insurance to dina ñëw dimbale la bu disaster amee bu fekkee da nga am laka-laka wala nga am sa kër bu daanu wala something. At least that would also ease the burden on government. Why I don't know whether dañ ko xamut wala dañuy teyteelu wala ñoom daal seen yoon nekku ci seen boppa lañ fa nekkal. It's very sad. digga la xaalis neex na nguur neex na waaye boo demee ba amatuloo ñëw ilif, you don't have citizens to rule. You become a one-man tiger in a jungle because nobody will care about you. te fa lañ jëm nag parce que every year 10 people die. So yàggee doo am nobody to rule. te again, not just government's responsibility, all of us, even individual citizens or private citizens, ñi nga xamante ne dañuy jël ay real estate, they take the whole hectare of land and build it into real estate. How many of them will build trees and grow trees on those homes? None of them. And it should be an enforcement to put it in their license or whatever documents they're acquiring to get those lands, to make sure that if they build that kind of real estate, every household you build for like a grow for a tree, and make sure that homeowner does not cut down the tree and has to take care of the tree for it to grow. If it dies, you replace it. This way we will have a lot of trees, a lot of greens in our country. Certain wind will come, the trees will block those kind of damages to a certain extent. It's for our own security. And the other problem we have is our construction. Suñ kër yi di nga gis ku jënd land 5-6 months ñu ne pare nañ building. Have you taken the time to make sure that your foundation is good? No. We just hire anybody that says contractor la wala manama builder wala ni wala nele. We take them, hire them, ñu bilal ñu suñ kër yi. In the next 10, 20, 15 years, 30 years, ngelaw bu rëy ñëw wala taw bu rëy ñëw néeg ba daanu param. Yàlla tere yow bu fekkee yaa ngi nelaw ak sa njaboot foofu noonu. That is not just a loss to you as a family man, but a loss to our own country, because soon population is going to decrease. Government or private entities should put something in place. Government sax lay waxal. Bu fekkee jënd nga land, sometimes people buy land in muddy areas, farms lañ wala something ñu soppi ko def ko dëkkuwaay. Make sure, man, I'm not an engineer. I don't know nothing about lands. I don't know none of that. But I think there should be something, an expert or an engineer or somebody that knows about land to come survey that place before a construction is built on that land. And even if the construction is being built, finyo defe concrete and everything to make sure everything is measured perfectly. Benga hamantene, like in the future, that home will not go down in drain wala wind bi munu ko yaha wala taw bi. And at least every 5 years you do an assessment on that home, just to see, to make sure that your citizens are safe where they live in. Because probably ñun dañoo jënd land rek and we don't know anything else. The only thing we know is hire a contractor mu ñëw defaral ñu suñ kër, because dañ soxla dëkkuwaay. But that is why we have a government in place. We are paying you our money. Taxpayers' money is what is being used for you to get paid. So if we put you there, because not all of us cannot be leaders. Ñun ñëpp mënuñoo doon ay njiit. Ñun ñëpp mënuñoo taka bow and tie them toog ci office bi. Ñun ñëpp mënuñoo jiite benn place. So if we put you there, it's not because you're intelligent. It's not because you're a lucky one or because you're smart. No. It's because yow la ko yàlla baaxel te ñu wóolu la ci nag teg la ci. Kon xanaa kay yow it war ngaa mën a def justice to make sure that you deliver to our expectation, whether we are looking or not, whether we know or not, behind closed doors or not. Waaye yéen ñuy fa axalam. Probably you are not directly responsible for the death of those people, but you are responsible indirectly parce que sa liggéey boo ko defoon peut-être duñ àgg ci li ñu yàgg nii. But it's very sad, it's very unfortunate that anytime a disaster comes to our country, we have to cry. We just have to do GoFundMe. We have to be begging. We need to have people on the streets. It's not right. Ndaxte gor moomut yenn yi. rawatina góor boo xamante ne dafa am gàcce, góor boo xamante ne day rus, góor boo xamante ne yaa ngi yàgg di dundal sa famille, yaa ngi yàgg di suturaal sa boppa. Why natural disaster when they come, you don't have control over that. Loolu war laa force for people to know sa soxla dafa métti. It's not right, and we all have a responsibility to that. We need to do better. We need to hold all these people accountable. It starts with us as voters, as citizens, ndaxte suñ baat rek lañ yor. Ba li ma ci dee gën a naxari, all these politicians you see, bu ñu jëlee mic bi li ñu lay wax moo daxa lem ak suukar. But wait until they take over. Then not all those people that are educated or can speak eloquently are intelligent. No. They can be all that. Waaye li Yàlla xam doy na. So it's not measured by education. It's not. It's good nit ngay toog xalaataat seegal sa bopp xalaat. Because it's not about today. Te lu la okka moom nga rooti. Because what you will not want your family to go through, I would not want my family to go through either. Nit ku nekk rek danga koy xoolee sa boppa. Why this disaster keep happening every year, it's coming, and still the government does not have any plan in place for it. Man loolu duma koy muna understand ba tey, and all they keep doing is waiting on donors. We are beggars, and that's what it is. Wax bi du neex. For how long do we have to continue being beggars? It's very sad. It's very, very unfortunate. But this is the life we live in. Moo tax nag comme que elections baa ngi ñëw, this should be our time to tell them what we want and who we want. And we need to choose wisely, because all those people come in speaking big grammar to you, dressing like they're from the Queen's Palace, wala dressing like ñoom ñoo jóge ci Maka. My dear, look between the lines. Who among them will come and talk about the well-being of people? Look at the hospital bi sax waxatuma ko, jàngukaay yi sax waxatuma ko, te xoolal nursery schools yi they don't even consider those as school. They don't even, dañ leen neglect ba nga xamante ni kenn du déggati affaire yi nursery schools. And te gis nga foundation boo gis am na fu mu commencé. Foundation bi bu baaxul dangay màgg doon mag bu tooy, di nga jàng ba am ay masters mais kay fekk xamoo dara. Parce que fi nga war a jàngee the foundation, the do's and the don'ts, loolu mooy fi nga commencé nursery school. But nowadays dangay dem xale bu nga boo xamante ne ñu naan mu ngi dem nursery school, lekk foofu noonu mburoog ñebe rek wala mburoog corn soup rek ñëw ci kër gi, because fula luñ ko. Bu school waree end at noon, dinañ end school at 11 or 12. At 10, because there is no control. Teachers si dangay dem ñu dem jàngi balaa time yi wàcca jot fekk ñibbi nañ ka taa kontong taboola damay dem toggi añ. Nobody respects the ethics of education. Comme teachers si sax lay wax, di nga gis ko drop out ñëw nekk teacher, which I have no problem with. Because di nga gis koo xamante ne jàngut musut a toog biir classroom, waaye su waxee nga xam ne kii make sense. That is there. So it's not all about education. But what I'm saying is, war nañoo gestuwaat suñ toogaay, defaraat toogaay. Because it's very sad. ñun ñuy war a fay suñ taxpayer money to our government, our officials. Gambia ñaata yoon nga dem si office yi nit wala office yu mag yi nii sax lay wax de, because man I've experienced it. Nga dem nga fekka leen léegi-léegi office baa ngi empty because ñëpp teel nañoo ñibbi sa kan noon su jotee, wala ñu jël lunch balaa ñoo ñibbi si waat, balaa ñoo ñëwaat liggéey the next day. All those are unethical. Why kan moo koy wax? Nii rek lañ leen di bàyyee. Man, I paid you to be there from 8 to 4 or 5. Waaye man tey su ma fa demee to get some document either at the Justice Department wala at certain offices, the office is closed, wala ki war a responsible, wala nga dem na wek tey ki war a responsible wàcca na te waxtu wàcca jotagul te ñeme yoo koo wax. Ngeen foog ne dëkk boobu dina dem yoon. ñun dinañ yàgga dellu backwards de li Halifa Sallah di wax rek system change, and the system change starts with us because we let all these things go thinking it's normal, but it's not normal. In every civilized country or situation this will not happen. Waaye boo commencé di wax ñu naan waa dafa indi the western ideology, it's not about western ideology, it's just civilization and it's common sense. Why it's very sad and it's very, very unfortunate that we're living like this. For how long? Our kids need a future, and we have to rebuild that future for them because it's already damaged. War nañu xoolaat toogaay gi li ñu war a wax nañ ko wax fu mu nekk ñoom ñëpp ñu ngi mel ni ay gaynde ay I don't even know how to describe them because ñëpp a ngi yàkkamti election jot kan mooy dugga ci pale bi ñeneen ñaa ngi ut second time ñeneen ñaa ngi ut lifin depuis kañ. Selfish interest rek ku la daaxa wax kooku la gën a doy waar, and you want us to trust you guys with our vote and our people are still suffering. Suñ yaay yi ñu ngee dee, suñ paa yi ñu ngee dee, nijaay yeeg ñeneen ak ñeneen ngeen bëgg ñu trust leen. Yéen ana seen ndimbal te ñeena politicians si sa balaa maa dee nga ñu xaar disaster happen rek ñu daw fa ak seen esaaku maalo yeeg seen yooyu noonu mel ni loolu la ñu yàkkamti. Yéen before ngeen di def loolu noonu why can't you all come together? Parce que Gambia rek ngeen am, whether you are what color your party is or who you are. Yéen su fekkee ne ñun citizens yi ñoo leen itteel, ñun ñoo leen tax a jóg, suñ well-being yéen suñ jàmm ngeen bëgga, why can't all of you people come together in the interest of your people pour sowe ñu? Kii su jëlee tey mu rule mu wàcca mu jox ko keneen kooku rule ngeen ñëw together. Why can't we do that and work together? Waaye yéen a ngi fi rek doo leen show any good example to your citizens. Moo tax dëkk bi is chaotic. Ku jóg taal sa connection saaga ku la neex def lu la saf parce que njiit yi si seen boppa ñëw fail. Ngeen baal ma si kàddu bi waaye wax bi du neex. Yéen ñëpp soo leen ñëwoon together and put all greed aside, put that power hungry aside and be one. Nit ki amuloo dara lu dul sa kàddu. Why if you guys are gonna put your voices together in the interest of your citizens, we will respect you. We will follow you. We will obey you if we have to. But you, none of you are doing that. Ku nekk ngee defal. Imaginal Gambia bu ndaw bii nii. How many political parties? Yéen koo leen yépp. What are you telling us? Comme ni sosé di waxee fankung la ku ràcc sa nag tay sa kanam. Because we all want to be named. We all want to be in the forefront. Gambians, open your eyes. All these people are just there for themselves. Nga dégg ñeneen naan oh man duma collect, man duma def nii, man na le. Well, at the end of the day, citizens have to do the assessment themselves. Why affaire disaster, I think should have been a thing of the past if the right measures were taken. Te ngeen bàyyi di takka sut ak taay di ñëw ci office bi di dawal lu leen neex fekk naada parce que bu things like this amee seen liggéey feeñut kon yéen deful leen fa dara. And if you think you're cheating the system or you're cheating us as citizens, no, it's a shame on you. Because not only us will be affected. Why you would say dom ilik, your future generation will be affected. So we have to be very mindful. You get dara thinking, oh well, I'm not affected because you live in a fancy house, you drive a wonderful car, you this, you that. But your future generation will pay the price. Lila okata mongoroti. So let's be very mindful of the things we do, thinking, oh, I don't care. You should care. Because bu sa nijaay affected, sa bàjjen wala sa tanta, sa yaay wala sa keneen ak keneen dinañ affect. Nit ki nag amoo dara lu dul sa réew. So I think it's high time for all of us to open our eyes and see what is what. Te bu jaree sax réew mi yépp toog bañ a dem sànni karta parce que you people are not showing any kind of leadership dinañ ko def. xam nga bési élection bu jotee kenn demut sànni ji karta ñépp toog seen kër yi di ngeen come together and be one nit ñi ne yéen daal benn ngeen because divide ngeen dëkk bi ba pare. People are divided whether we say it closed doors or openly. We are divided because it starts with our leaders, the people that call themselves politicians or want to lead us. I'm not impressed. It's very sad. But anyways, mag boo ci gis nag mu jóg di tontu wante keneen ñu mel ni ay xaleel xanaa xale yi léegi sax bàyyi nañ yooyu. lan moo tax ngeen foog ne keneen du toog fale Europe wala feneen ak feneen taal connection am saaga la? It's because they're not seeing any leadership that is gonna put them to do the right thing. So ñoom daal defe nañ ne loolu moo gën ci ñoom. It's not right, but it's because they're seeing it from the leaders. wax bi dem na ñëw na. Disaster waruta am ba nit ñi di homeless. It shouldn't happen. And this is a food for the government to think. It shouldn't happen. And don't just sit there and wait for the donors to do it for you. You should have allocated this in your budget. It should be on top of the budget, in fact, because disasters do happen. Why balaa ñoo dee rek ku nekk génn si I am standing in solidarity, my sympathy to those affected. We don't need speeches. We had speeches all our life. We don't need it. We don't need all those big grammars. We don't need all those Mandinka professors or Wolof or Pula or Fele. We don't need them. We had them since bi ñu doonee ay xaleel. So we don't need that anymore. We need action. We all live disasters. We all dunda nañ ko, whether we dunda it directly or not. Man as a young child, a girl child going to school, dunda naa ko. Man tëdd naa si kaw lal boo xamante ne sponge bi mu ngi tëdd si mu ngi ci biir ndox because taw bee bari. Suñ roof bi is off. So we were laying down on that sponge ci biir ndox ba boor set. Mun nga ci am pneumonia, mun nga ci màggee am ci feebar. Oh, man dunda naa ko as a child growing up. So disaster has been around, but what are you people doing pour sauver suñ bakkan yi? What are you people doing? Nothing. You become homeless in your own country because of the people that are supposed to take responsibility or do what they're supposed to do are not doing it. It's very sad. It's very unfortunate. And anytime I see disasters like this, I take it personal. I feel it because dunda naa ko. Raining season buy ñëw suma fit bee dee dem. Suma book yi ma jàngee school yépp a dee yaaxu si raining season dama ko dee dem dénkaane. Imaginal every raining season nga dem dénkaane sa uniform bi nga dem dénkaane sa book yi because xam nga ne your house is gonna be like a river. Seen lekkay ñu génnee ko ñun if we at those days can do that to prepare ourselves for the disaster. Yéen mi toog ci palais yi yéen mi toog ci office yi at that time. You don't take any measures to make sure ne lii bu xewee xaaral ñu sowe suñ doomi réew mi. But man as a child at that age, I was preparing for any disaster that comes because dama dee dem dénkaane yi ma gën a soxla. It's not okay. You need to do better. And all of you, yéen politicians yépp lay wax. It's not just about the government. Yéen ñépp la. Ndaxte yéen ñépp a yem si sak noofu ngeen kenn tanewul moromam. Parce que yéen bu fekkoon gënal na leen, you all are gonna come together. Am benn baat ngir seen réew. Am benn baat ngir seen doomi réew mi. Waaye Gambia sonn nañ de. And we have been suffering not just today. For how long do we have to? Anyways, yal na Yàlla yokk jàmm ji. Yokk sutura. Waaye dafa metti toog leen ngeen xalaataat ko bu baax.